Testing 1, 2.
He's practicing for the pledge.
I was like, who is?
At this time, we will call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustees DeBoer.
Here.
Trutchell.
Here.
Pfeiffer. Here. President Vanderstill.
Here.
Trustee Walschlager. Here. Connor.
Here.
Hallquist.
Here.
If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee Hallquist.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If anybody would like to speak in public comments, please step towards the podium at this time.
Nobody else.
All right. First item on the agenda is consideration of the village board minutes from the August 12th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve village board minutes from August 12th, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move the minutes for the, or to approve the minutes for the August 12th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Now we have items related to the vouchers. We have consideration of a payment to Stark Pavement Group for payment number 1 for the 2024 Paving Program in the amount of $454,293.94.
Yes, Stark is looking for their first partial payment for the paving project that they've done on River Reserve. It's been looked over and inspected by staff and our engineer up there. So staff recommends the partial payment of $454,293.94 to Stark Paving.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment number 1 for Stark Pavement Corporation for the 2024 paving program in the amount of $454,293.94.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve that, that first payment to Stark Paving for the 2024 paving program. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now, I am just gonna ask, but I'm quite certain on this. Now the number of the vouchers, that's including that payment that we just approved, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So now we have consideration of vouchers for payment in the amount of $556,256.39.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $556,256.39.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to pay the vouchers. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have actions related to licenses and permits. We have consideration of an application for a firework permit for the Lake Country Lutheran High School. Do we have representation from them here?
Again, I believe this is just for their homecoming game. This is something that they've done annually. Friday, September 27th, between 6:50 and 7:10 p.m. Fire department is at that game, so we'll have all the necessary equipment there. I think a couple of years ago, they watered it, even if it's dry, so.
Yeah, they just have ground displays is pretty much all that they have. It's nothing real big, and it's probably 5, maybe 10 minutes at max.
And you're good with it?
Yeah.
From a fire standpoint?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll make a motion we approve the application for the fireworks permit for Lake Country Lutheran.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the fireworks permit for Lake Country Lutheran High School on September 27th. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Next one is, we have the consideration of an application for weights and measures for Kwik Trip.
Sandy, you want to just explain this?
Sure, this is, it's a flat fee of $25 per year for anyone that requires the permit. There is a biannual inspection that's done by the state, and that's a separate fee. So this is just to permit it.
Next time you go pump gas, look on the pump, you'll see a little sticker that says weights and measures. It's the state that comes in and does that. This is a required thing for any scales. Piggly Wiggly has them. Laundromats, I believe, have them. Certain all over have weight and measures.
I'll make a motion to approve the application for weights and measures for Kwik Trip.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the weights and measures permit for Kwik Trip. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. Now we have a consideration of a motion to approve resolution number 0826, 2024, a resolution pledging. Sorry, I gotta zoom in. My bad. 1 second.
I got it up.
Okay, thank you. To approve the resolution that the village board of the Village of Hartland will expend funds necessary for the Hartland Public Library to exempt the village from the Waukesha County Library levy.
Yeah, so in plain speak, it's just affirming that the municipality will expend the minimum set by Waukesha County, which this year is $421,327, and that will match the mill rate that residents in Waukesha County that don't have libraries in their municipality get taxed. So it's just avoiding a double tax essentially for Hartland residents.
Also, by doing this, that makes us eligible for the county aid grant, correct?
I believe
So
so.
if we did this, we would lose approximately $310,000 in county aid.
Yes.
I'd make a motion then that we approve resolution number 08262024, a resolution pledging that the village board of the Village of Hartland will expend funds necessary for the Hartland Public Library to exempt the village from the Waukesha County Library levy.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the library to expend the funds necessary for the Hartland Public Library to exempt the village from the Waukesha County Library levy. Any discussion? One thing that I think that we should touch on, just because of what happened last year, because I think that it's good for the board to have. I suppose this falls more on staff on this side, but I think each year when this comes up, because this happens every year, you know, we have to take this vote every single year, unless we all of a sudden just self-fund. And I don't foresee that happening, but I think it's important for us to know where we stand, because there actually, I don't know how many people are aware, but, you know, that library board can change its makeup and how many people that are Hartland residents that are approved by this board compared to how many people from the county are put on that board. The more money the county puts in, it's staggered into levels, but the more money the county puts in, the more money people they get to put on, the less say Hartland has. Right. The more money Hartland puts in, the more say Hartland has, and the more people from Hartland that are approved by the board are on the library board.
Correct. Yep. Last year we went from 7 to 8 because county funding made up a greater proportion than it did in the years prior to that. So
Correct.
technically, if Hartland funds more, then the county would lose that seat essentially, and we'd go back to 7.
Correct. Yep. Correct. So, no other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. Now we go to items referred from the August 19th, 2024 Plan Commission meeting. I'll say beforehand, when we get to these, the Plan Commission kind of took them up.
This is just first reading. So
Yep, it's just first reading, but I just want the board to know at the Plan Commission meeting, we just kind of took all the items as one and spoke about them, talked about them, addressed them. But instead of doing each individual thing, even though we don't have to do anything with that right here, I just wanted everybody to know moving forward. The board doesn't have to do it like that, but that's how Plan Commission sent it. So this would be the village board first reading for proposed PUD development project whose approval is being sought by 3 Leaf Development on property tax key HAV 0423981056, located on Campus Drive. The village board in the first reading reviews preliminary site and building plan, that's item A. The certified survey map is B. The RM1 in conjunction with the PUD agreement is C. Petition for planned unit development is D. The use and amendment and resolution, or land use amendment and resolution is E. And then setting a date for the public hearing for October 14th, 2024. That was referred from the Plan Commission that we do set that public hearing. Mr. Ford is here, so I'll let him take the mic.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Good evening, John Ford, Chief Development Officer for 3 Leaf Partners. As many of you know from our other project we have hopefully going to start here soon. Our motto is impact through real estate, and this project we're proposing here this evening is certainly no different. This outstanding project will have an economic impact, a village and greater area citizen demand impact, as well as finish out the Lutheran High School Association and Lake Country Lutheran in particular's overall vision many years ago. We appreciate the opportunity to introduce you to our Hartland Senior Development. What we'll be proposing this evening is a 4-story plus underground parking development, 118 units in total, that will really be a continuum of care type development for seniors. This will include independent living, assisted living, and memory care. We discussed at the concept meeting earlier this year the significant relationship that Three Leaf has with the Lutheran High School Association of Greater Milwaukee and Lake Country Lutheran High School in particular. And we anticipate collaboration and enjoyment between seniors attending high school events across the street, as well as students coming over to collaborate and engage with the seniors. This project, located on Campus Drive, obviously immediately across from the street, would continue the overall objective set out long ago, which included a cradle-to-grave type mission by the Lutheran High School Association. To just say a few comments on that, Mark Barr, Chief Growth Officer of the Lutheran High School Association, is here with us this evening.
Good evening. I'm Mark Barr, I'm the Chief Growth Officer, but I was also founding principal of Lake Country Lutheran High School in 1999. Opened that school with 5 students on that big 100-acre piece of land. And at that time already, we started thinking about what that land could look like in the community. And so this project that we're talking about right now is something that's kind of been in the works for a couple of decades, trying to figure out how to do something that would really impact both of the high school and its ministry with its kids, and then the community in such a way that we're describing to you this evening. The collaboration that we're talking about is, as John mentioned before, a little bit of the students being able to come over and read to the residents and play games and cards and visit with them and perform different kinds of maybe musics and little type of theater vignettes, and then likewise the seniors being able to walk across the street and come to concerts and games and plays and be welcomed into that community. It's just a great way to mix our generations together, and we see that as a ministry that can really be strong, and it will look really, really nice on that piece of property. So just as you go through this evening, remember that this is something that has been in the works for a long time, and it would be a culmination of a dream that we've had to be able to work in the Hartland community in such a way that we could really benefit both generations in that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
So since we were here, I think it was back in February for the concept meeting, one of the first things we did to validate this development was a third-party market study. Just want to share some of those results for the Waukesha and Lake Country area, just to give you a perspective what the senior market is right now. The 4-county area over the next 5 years is forecasted to grow by approximately 1,900 households per year, or just under 10,000, and this is obviously led by Waukesha County. The Hartland market MSA in particular, and when they define the Hartland market, it's really an 8-mile radius, so it's not just Hartland, but age 65 plus is expected to grow by 3,000 households over the next 5 years. Hartland MSA projected senior demand is about 520 units over the next 5 years. So about 100, just north of 100 units per year for the next 5 years. The current market vacancy is 4.8%. Obviously, Heritage Lake Country is full. The Waters in Pewaukee, which delivered just recently, is currently 7% vacant. There are some upcoming deliveries, but we feel the market is very strong overall for this continued use. So if we talk a little bit more about the site specifically, as many of you know, obviously across from Lake Country Lutheran, the site in total that we're talking about is just under 9 acres at 8.88. You may recall from the concept meeting, there is a quit claim deed or QCD line that kind of bifurcates this overall site. The senior use is allowed by this quit claim deed, but the building must be located east of this line. Hence why on the site plan, when we get there, you'll see the building east of such line. The lot that the building is located on, Lot 2 of the CSM draft, is 3.76 acres in total. The surface parking then would be in front of the building on an outlot that we would have a cross-access easement agreement with the Lutheran High School Association. That outlot is 1.77 acres for a total of 5.53 acres in total. As I mentioned, in your packet, there is a draft CSM that shows this graphically. The development is specifically 118 units, as I mentioned, that breaks up into 78 independent living units, 20 assisted living, as well as 20 memory care units. The size, 4 stories at its max. One of the things, and Keith will come up in just a bit to get a little bit more into the architectural, but on the ends of the building, on the 4th floor, we pulled that back from an architectural standpoint, so it's only 3 stories for that last part of it. From a size perspective, there's about 144,000 square feet of actual space, along with 39,000 for the indoor parking, for a total of 183,000 square feet. The common area, or we call the town square area, will be a 1.5 story, very welcoming at the entrance to the building, which will include things like a bistro, a chapel, theater room, beauty salon, spa, art studio, fitness center, club room, dining, restaurant, a bar, 2 courtyard areas outside with seating and programming and games, as well as some outdoor decks and a rooftop patio. As far as size of units, the independent living will range from studios up to 2 bedrooms. The studios are right around 500 square feet to 2 bedrooms that are just north of 1,100 square feet. And then the assisted and memory care units would range from a 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom, ranging in size from 300 to 500 square feet. Total beds, if you max out all the 2 bedroom units and had a bed in every bedroom, which isn't necessarily always realistic, it's about 152 beds in total. As far as materials go, we're proposing about 32% would be stone on the exterior of the building, followed by a combination of board and batten siding, as well as lap siding, shake siding, really with a warm color palette that'd be pretty similar to what you see across the street at Lake Country Lutheran. Civil design, we've been working with Trio. Josh with Trio is here this evening as well. But we've been working with village staff and consultants, including the fire chief. One of the primary concerns was if we could look at being able to get, if needed, hopefully it never is, but be able to get a fire truck all the way around the building. Obviously, it's a challenging site, but what you see here this evening in your packets, we are able to accommodate that request to allow a fire truck to go all the way around the building if needed. We've also included things like the stormwater management plan, the CSM, as I mentioned. We've got walking paths all the way around this building for the seniors to enjoy. Utility plan. From a parking standpoint, we feel we've got this very ample parking for this. There's 70 enclosed underground stalls, along with 47 surface parking stalls, for a total of 117, which is about 1.67 per unit. Which is very much in line with other developments in the competitive set. Your current code would require approximately 89 spaces compared to the 117 that we currently have. The other thing, Mark talked about the collaboration between the high school and the development. Obviously, we take very seriously the safety component of that. You'll see on the site plan, we're proposing to add essentially a crosswalk with the yellow safety blinking lights. That would be just north of the entrance drive on Campus Drive there. Landscape and lighting, Mike with Insight is on virtually as well, but really it was designed for appeal and provide high interest throughout the multiple seasons. Obviously a wide array of colors, wide array of materials. We've already started commencing kind of that design of the 2 courtyards on the exterior. So all of that is in process, as well as lighting. We have a lighting plan in your packet as well, both pathway and exterior lighting of the building. But certainly if there's any specific questions on landscape or lighting, Mike would be happy to answer those. Environmentally, we've done a phase 1 environmental study, and I'm happy to report that there is no further investigation needed on this site, which is tremendous compared to the previous site. Geotechnical standpoint, we've already done borings on the site based on where you see the building. There's 16 borings that were already done in total. That final report is currently pending, but Geotest has been in communication with Trio, and the soils and everything are fully supportive of what we're trying to do here. I'd like to now turn over to Keith. Keith is an executive with PRA, just to walk through kind of the renderings and also go through the fly-through video to give you more of a visual depiction of what we're trying to do.
Keith Biskobin with Plunkett Research Architects.
I'm going to try to share my screen. I talk better when there's a plan in front of me to describe here. Let me try, I think it's this one. There we go. So in front of you, you can see the lower level plan as well as the first floor plan. The lower level being 70 underground parking stalls with access from the north end. Up on the plans is the north end facing Campus Drive. There's some resident storage, a receiving area on the south end of the site. So the access to that point to the receiving would be around the west end, driving around, and then it's recessed down onto the lower level facing the south, the Highway 16. If you jump up to the first floor on the right side, you can see the memory care wing, the kind of smaller units on the north end, and then our common, what we're calling the town square, with all the amenities that John described with the chapel and theater and multipurpose room and kind of the community center for all of the residents. And then the larger units you can see on the south side are the independent living with a central elevator kind of equal distance between the two wings, centralized right here, next to a dining area and some other common shared activity spaces for each resident. Jump up to the second floor. Again, these smaller units on the north end is the second story portion, which would be assisted living. They have their own internal elevator here as well, so communicating between the memory care and assisted living, primarily for staff. They'll be able to go up and down between the floors with an elevator on on that wing. And then we have independent living on the rest of that wing. And then on the right side, the third floor plan, you can see that the building steps back. So after independent memory and independent living stop at a two-story building, everything behind that continues up to the third and fourth floor for the independent living. So facing Campus Drive, you'll see that it has a kind of a two-story feel. And then as you go further to the back towards 16, you get the four-story portion of the building. We can go through, and here's the fourth floor, and then we also did step the building back at the end of this wing down to 3 stories to provide a roof deck for the residents on the fourth floor. Elevations, like John said, is a combination of stone and various types of fiber cement siding, different patterns, colors, but trying to stick to that warm palette to kind of be work with the Lake Country Lutheran School. Not exactly matching. I do have a few samples here you can see. Sorry about that. You can see if you'd like. But browns, reds, tying into the natural colors in the environment. It's a little difficult to see. It's actually easier to see. I'll show you a 3D view of the building. It's a little better, easier to get a sense of what's going on. This is the 2-story building on the end closest to Campus Drive. So we have an average roof height of about 34 feet. And then we go to the back, it's about 56 feet to the average roof height for the 4-story portion of the building. And a couple of views looking down westbound on Highway 16 with all the foliage and along the highway, you're only going to really see the top 2 floors above the trees. Similarly, going eastbound on 16, you'll see a little bit more because you're farther away, but you can just primarily see the top of the building. And then the view from Campus Drive, you can see on the left is the 2-story memory care and assisted living portion. In the center is the welcoming area, the town center. We try to make that distinct with the drop-off canopy so it's identifiable as the front entrance. There's a little more glass there. The roof slope and direction kind of changes so it is identifiable as a unique piece and your destination. And then behind the town center, you can see the 4-story portion, which is the independent living. And if you're, give me 1 minute, I can go through the exterior, fly through just to give you again a sense of how things look here. So this is the view as you're driving up Campus Drive. Let me do this. The main entry into the site is right here. And again, you're kind of driving right towards the entry door. So as you approach, you'll have a pretty good sense of where you're needing to go. The parking also is designed to have kind of a turnaround area right in front, a drop-off at the entry door. The left, again, is the memory care on the first floor with assisted living above, and then the independent living behind. And you can get a sense of these courtyards that we have in between the buildings. I can go up a little bit here. So these areas will be landscaped, various activities. There'll be a courtyard, secure courtyard for the memory care residents right outside of their portion of the building, and then other facilities for the other independent living residents. Let me go back down, go in the wrong direction here. Around the back is the access to the receiving area. As we discussed, this road takes you down that way. That receiving door is on the right. Primarily for kitchen deliveries would be the main function. Here you can also see that fire lane that John talked about that we added. So we kind of have a paved stone that allows vegetation to grow through it, but that would be the path that the fire truck would drive on. And then in the center between that paved area is the walking path that residents or the rest of the community would walk on that path in the center. We've got a deck on the back off of the independent living dining area, which is on the first floor right here. Another community room here with an exterior deck. A couple exits out of the parking level, and then again, we're back to the two-story memory care and assisted living wing on the back. So you can see from Campus Drive, it's really going to have a two-story feel with a four-story in the background, which was really our intent to kind of bring that scale down as you approach the main entry and the Campus Drive view. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So before we open up to questions, just from an operational perspective, we are actively working with a well-known senior operator here locally that will really bring a significant amount of experience. They have weighed in on a lot of the design that you see here from an operational standpoint. Obviously, we continue to build out the operational program for the seniors in this facility, but we feel it would be a tremendous benefit to the community in the greater Lake Country area. As Keith mentioned, the delivery area, that was strategically done to keep delivery and operations of the building out of the front door. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine, to not have constant deliveries or whatever it might be, move-ins, move-outs, coming through the front door. This allows us to really bring it back through kind of the back of house, so to speak. We've got that centrally located elevator bank that can then go from lower level all the way up to to the fourth floor. From a staffing perspective, at full stabilization, it is estimated this development will employ 36 to 40 employees, with approximately 20 to 24 of those being on at any one shift. Obviously, as we talked about, we met multiple times with Ryan and the village staff, as well as Rooker Milky, and incorporate a lot of that feedback into what you see here this evening. So obviously, we ask for the village board's support on this project, rezoning to RM1 with a PUD. And obviously, we look forward to carrying out this plan. Our understanding kind of going forward from an entitlement perspective would be October 14th as far as a public hearing, followed by Plan Commission on the October 21st, and then coming back to you folks on October 28th for final approval. So we're excited about this development, excited to take that next step and continue to move this process forward. With that, we'll certainly answer any questions from any of our design team here this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, again, as he mentioned, this will come back for the public hearing. That's the only item on the agenda today, would be for the board to set the public hearing. In order to come back on the 21st and to the Plan Commission and 28th to the village board, we would have to be comfortable with the plan unit development, which will be started here shortly and given off to Attorney De La Mora and Attorney Hummel for their review. So it will not come back for final approval until everybody, kind of what we did with the quarry, but the next step would be a public hearing.
I guess one question I have is, with the timelines you've defined in your goal, if everything goes as planned, when would you be looking to break ground, and what would your completion date approximately be?
Yeah, it's a great question. Ideally, we'd like to break ground by the end of this year, call it December. A couple factors are playing into that, one of them being the construction schedule. The initial schedule from our GC is about 16 to 17 months of construction. So that would allow us to deliver, call it spring of 2026. Obviously, if we get delayed a number of months, and we'd then be delivering into the fall and winter, which can hurt lease up of this type of asset for sure.
Else? Then
I'll just make a motion to
Yep.
set the public hearing for October 14th.
It's been moved and seconded to set the public hearing for October 14th. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That public hearing is set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you in October. Well, hopefully before.
Now, just to touch on that quick, I'm guessing that at each next board meeting and the following board meeting, there will be the second and then the third reading?
Second reading is with the public hearing October 14th.
Oh, okay, is that stipulated in our, oh, okay, got it. And then we would have to wait if we wanted to, or if it could just goes along its line, then it'd be another
so-
meeting before it's.
Yeah, so the plan commission essentially approved it contingent that they'll get, everything will go back to them to verify everything was good. So that's October 21st would be the plan commission, October 28th would be the village board.
Yep, okay. So now we have Village Board second reading for a proposed annexation and PUD development whose approval is being sought by Gideon Farm LLC on property tax keys MRTT 0396999006 and MRTT 0396999002 located at N56W30020 County Road K, Town of Merton. So we have to set another public hearing here. Oh, sorry, we have to have a public hearing, and then with that being the second reading, hold on one second. Yeah, okay. So we'll open the public hearing at this time. Anybody that would like to speak in the public hearing, please step towards the podium. And closed. So, we just had the public hearing and listened to all those comments. And now, now we have a proposed petition for direct annexation, proposed temporary rezoning to A1 for the farmland parcel and B3 for the corner parcel in conjunction with petition for planned unit development overlay zoning, proposed site and architectural plans, and proposed comprehensive land use map amendment and resolution. We have the representative here, so if you want to just touch on anything and.
I feel like I've been. Nothing specific to add this evening. Realized that did not go last week, so I will definitely make sure that gets around this week.
And yeah, just so the board's aware, this is the second reading. The other item, Attorney De La Moore is waiting on a PUD. He'll review that, bring it back, but September 16th, it would go to the Plan Commission, September 23rd to the Village Board. Obviously, if it, and Mr. Gale is aware, if it doesn't hit those dates, it goes to October. When is your timeline, I guess, if we ask the previous? Your hope is to break ground this?
My hope is to break ground yet this fall.
Okay.
We need to dot the i's and cross the t's.
For sure.
The only question that I had was, that was in question was the shape of the barn. I mean, have you got any more details on that? I was just curious.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
So the renovation of the barn was part of what was to me phase. Thank you. Sorry about that. Want to make sure I'm being recorded properly into a manner that I could bring people in. The barn is good enough. I could put cows in there tomorrow, but that is a big difference from trying to put people in. The numbers I got are quite simply way too high. So at this point in time, unfortunately, I believe the barn will be coming down. If not 100%, at least 90% of the barn will be coming down.
That's phase two.
And that is phase two, correct.
Okay,
So
I was just curious if you had an update on that.
Yeah, that's why the PUD has now been pared back entirely to phase one, just because those numbers came in so high on the barn.
And I should explain, at the plan commission, we talked about, Mr. Gale is aware, with it, the PUD only being phase one.
Yeah.
Coming forward for phase two will mean that whether it's a new board or not, that it's gonna be a whole fresh look. But obviously, I'm sure some of you will be on here to say, hey, we were hopeful of a restaurant, but just letting you know that this is just gonna be a one-phase PUD for now.
Yeah, the goal for what we want to do in the barn still remains the same.
Thank you.
Amount of excitement around this, especially from some of your neighbors, is resonating.
It's been great. It truly has been an absolute fantastic, the types of comments that I've heard. So I
Likewise.
apologize that nobody showed up tonight.
Right.
Just, did you guys have anything on this project? No, okay.
Yeah, so there's nothing, this just comes back to the
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, because we had the public hearing, so we've now done the second reading, we don't need to take a vote, so.
Once I get updated drawings, I'll forward them to the board, that way you have them. Like I said, it'll be September 16th or October, see, however the PUD goes.
With it being how it played out, because there's just a couple pieces that are kind of a little bit moving, or a few things like changing a tiny bit.
Yep.
But so anybody on the board, and I think you guys already know this, but contact Ryan, because if there's something you want answers, or all of a sudden you're wondering about something, or concerned about something where you're like, I need to know this information, you know what I mean, just call and we'll make sure to get you the information one way or the other.
Are you
But
still
go ahead.
are you still thinking of maybe building then a modern barn?
I am, yes,
Okay.
very much so. I want a barn on the property.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely. In order to be a farm, it needs to have a barn.
okay, good.
Yes.
There was an article today that essentially laid out it is cost prohibitive to keep the barn.
Yeah,
I
by
have
the
no
time
doubt.
from a engineering, from a structural engineering standpoint, as soon as you try to put people in it, it just became difficult.
That thing used to hold cows. But it's got a lot of years on
Yes.
it.
Been in that barn many times.
That's a lot of years. Well, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
I'll talk to you after.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, were you guys here for a public comment? I just want to make sure that if you were here to speak, okay. Speaking of comments, announcements.
So library, we have a few staff changes. One of my cert clerks going to grad school in Portland. Another one is moving to Washington DC with her husband, so we're gonna have new faces there. Our cert supervisor also left to be the school librarian at St. Charles. She's hopefully gonna still be connected with the library through some volunteer work though, so we're exploring that. All their replacements have been hired. 2 of them have already started, so I've been really happy about how quickly that's transitioned. And I'm also working with Parks and Rec, DPW, and Kiwanis to hopefully get a kind of Fall Fest started this year. It'll tentatively be on October 19th. We're bringing it to the Park Board next week with one of the Kiwanis members and Sarah, and then I'll probably be back here presenting it to you guys on September 9th. So we're going to try to we're going to call it Pumpkin Party in the Park, kind of do it a little bit smaller this year just because of the time frame, and then next year we're hoping to have a huge kind of fall celebration. So more to come on that as well.
Paving, Wolf Paving has laid the first layer of asphalt, the binder layer, today. We're hoping to see surface by the end of the week here on that project on West Capitol by Kwik Trip. So that's all I have.
Yeah, it's Monday, they should be able to get that down.
Hopefully.
All right, last Friday we had our golf outing for our Firefighters Association. We filled the course +2, so we had 146 golfers. Was a beautiful day out. We brought in around $25,000 in revenue. We still have to pay some bills, so we don't have a final number on everything yet. October 12th will be our pancake breakfast down at the firehouse. Possibly with our new pancake maker. We have all the metal. We just got to find somebody to put it together for us. So we're working on that. If that doesn't happen, we have one we can use, the one that we've been using the past couple of years. So we'll take care of that. That's from 7 to 12 a.m. 7 a.m. to 12. And then also we did the final inspection last week on the Kwik Trip. Did our alarm tests and all that stuff, and everything worked out very well over there. It looks great, can't wait for it to open.
That's great with the golf outing. That's awesome.
Andy touched on some of the staffing updates. One of the staffing additions was our former now part-time administrative assistant that we just hired. So we'll be going back to recruit for that position. If we're gonna lose someone, at least we're losing them in-house. So we'll be, again, sending out for that part-time admin assistant position, noon to 4:30, Monday through Friday. So if you have anyone interested, please encourage them to apply. That will be going out later this week. In addition, we'll be also putting out the deputy chief recruitment. Our goal is for candidates to submit applications, do some type of internal review, and then they will go in front of the October PFC meeting, that second Tuesday in October. That is in anticipation of Deputy Chief Calero's retirement December 13th. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about quickly was our mock assessment was earlier this month. Went very well. Our real assessment, which will be 3 full days, within a team of assessors, that'll be November 5th through November 7th. And again, that's for that 3-year Wiley Ag reaccreditation period. That's all I got.
Good.
Nothing from Parks? Anything fun and exciting going on in Park Board or any up and coming stuff?
No, just the first I've heard of the pumpkin party in the park.
I hope that they have a pumpkin carving, like, bunch of, like, leveled tables set up so that we can just have them put there. It'd be kinda cool for people to see.
Since it's less than like 2 months, we're trying not to be over ambitious.
I did hear, if you don't mind me speaking.
Yeah,
I
for
did
sure.
hear they're going to have a gourd race in the river.
Oh,
Get like mini
Apparent-
pumpkins that would float.
Apparently gourds float, so.
oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you're gonna have a bunch of stuff sinking.
So it's like the fall version of the Bark River Bash. Kind of, they did the rubber duck race on the Bark River. This time it would be mini gourds. Leo knows someone with a ginormous pumpkin, so we do like a guess your pumpkin weight. We would have an inflatable movie screen at the parks. We'd show a movie there. Pat Enters is possibly going to be able to open his beer garden for that event. Kiwanis would sell concessions. We partner with Hartland Lakeside to also do trunk or treat in the library parking lot. Possibly a hay maze as well, and a haunted Halloween walk along the river. And we have a ton of other ideas: cornhole tournament, pickleball tournament, eating contest. That even if we can't do it this year, next year when we have more time to plan, we're going to do that. Because I think it was actually put forward, if you have like department heads or maybe the village president versus the village manager do a pumpkin eating contest against each other, would be pretty pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens, but that's what we're kind of looking at.
Maybe hey, between you two, maybe a black of a eating contest.
Yeah, I'll crush them.
Yeah, so this year we're trying to start small, get the ball kind of rolling, and then next year when we have more time, it'll be a little bit of a bigger event. So we'll see.
No, just saying, all department heads got their budgets back to me. With how tight things were, net new construction this year is only 1%, so I asked everybody to give a pretty bare bones budget. Everybody did. We are in actually a better spot than I thought. That's because of permit revenue next year with some of the facilities that are being built. And interest income, the danger with that is in years where interest income and permits go down, it might be tougher. But we will have those presentations, I believe it is September 11th and September 12th, starting at 6 p.m. So we will get that going and get you guys some budgets here in a couple weeks.
Also, is registration opening tomorrow for Parks?
Yes.
Wanted to add that. I saw the brochure arrived at our house recently, and it was done nicely.
And that's for Parks and for Rec Department. before
Yeah,
the fall
Civic
season,
Rec,
right?
is that correct?
Yeah.
That's how you sign up?
Yep.
Yeah, that's our new website.
Yep.
Residents are able to register tomorrow and non-residents the following day.
Okay, cool. I gotta go.
You guys all received the building needs analysis information from me, so we'll be
Yes.
bringing that forward at the next meeting, just to give you a little bit of background. So one of the items that we're gonna be bringing forward to the village board is something called the delineation of the 3 sites. It's something we would pay Rupert and Milky for. It is costly, but it forever delineates the wetland into, so we know exactly where we can and can't build. That's for all future, that would be for the Y site, Hartbrook Park, and the fire department. The 3 sites that we're talking about, we really need to know what we're working with before they can.
Motion then we adjourn?
Been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, this meeting's adjourned.